Good morning. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. What's going on?
Doing good. It is a beautiful day in the neighborhood. It is TSU homecoming week. It is our big town hall meeting today with the Department of Ed. We got the parade. We got trunk or treat. We got my 20-year class reunion, and like today is a beautiful day. What about you?
Yes, it is. It's a beautiful day. It's good. I've been in a rat race this morning. Shout out to 92Q for having us on the show this morning. I just dropped them off a little swag. So I was driving on two wheels. I think I ran a stop sign. I'm sorry, Metro Police. I'm so sorry. Oh man, I feel so bad. I ain't gonna eat no snacks today. That's my punishment. But
gotta do what you gotta do.
I'm remorseful. I'm remorseful. Hey Rhea, she said I guess she's celebrating homecoming already. Just wait till you get off work, sis. Wait till you get off work.
Come on now. But yeah, it's great. And I think shout out to the Natural Propel parents. I mean, just the support once they found out you were going on, just the calls and texts that I were getting like, how can I support? How can I help? Wanting to call in and really just give their experience on like how much we support it. You never realize how much you have people's back until they call you and tell you that they want to support you and then they go through it. And so 92Q, like you said, shout out to Kenny, shout out to the whole morning show, Sissy, Dub, Sleazy. I think another guy, the producer, Sean. And I think it was an opportunity to really get the message out to Black Nashville. I think a lot of people listen to 92Q who vote, a lot of people who listen to 92Q who have been in this city for years and have seen it change and have had kids through the education system. So I know they enjoyed it and look forward to the future.
Absolutely. What we got today? What we talking about today? Yeah, I got on my look at my earpods. I got me some earpods to all the young mamas and daddies out there. Yeah, I'm coming up.
Yep. So today we definitely want to talk about this Tennessee Department of Education town hall. We want to talk about just really break down what it's all about. And so as we think about student funding, what does that really mean? We want to talk about the trunk or treat and us being in the community. What other events are going on? We want to hear from parents. Parent-teacher conference is coming up this Friday. Like, we want to hear what are some of the questions, what are some of the concerns, what are some of the great things that are happening, because it really helps us prepare. I'll tell you, I was in a meeting yesterday with a parent going over their IEP. And not to get real personal, but the kid is in the 11th grade. And one of the things they said, he scored 77% on this assessment, right? And as I looked at it, the assessment was an 8th grade assessment. And I was like, okay, let me hold my face. And then when I got a chance to ask, and the school was clueless, and the mama was like, that's why we wanted you guys on here. As Propel to ask the tough questions that we may miss. And so that's why I want to hear about what are things getting ready as you think about parent-teacher conferences, what else is happening. But we definitely want to talk about this town hall that's coming up, the first one of the tour, tonight at 5:30 at Merrill Hyde in Hendersonville.
I want to go back to that because I think anyone that's listening to the sound of my voice, let me tell you something. The worst way to fail a kid is to lower the expectations. And what I mean by that is to give them work that is below grade level. Are you listening to me? Mm-hmm. Listen to me closely. The most damaging thing that an educator could ever do to a child is to lower the expectation and not raise the expectation. And I hear what you're saying. Oh, my child has a disability. Remember, the accommodation is supposed to help them to be able to be on grade level. If they're not, the accommodation is not working. Mm-hmm. When my son first came out of the traditional setting, because it was not working for him. He was making 18 and 20s on his report card.
Mm-hmm.
It drove me mad, but I stayed the course. And now he is on grade level.
Mm-hmm.
He's making A's and B's, and he's making some C's. But because we inserted the rigor, and it was hard at first. I was like, oh my God, it's too hard for him. And he's struggling with it. And I just had to trust the experts who say to increase the rigor. Don't have them in 11th grade reading on the 8th grade level, and don't have them in the 7th grade reading Bernstein Bears. That never will get them there. So I want to make sure parents know this, because you need to push. When you go to the school, you tell them, increase the rigor. They're probably not going to have the A's and B's on the report card, but it's going to get them there if you stay the course.
Well, guess what she told me though, Sonia?
What?
The lady said his growth, he grew 30%. And I said, I love when you talk about growth in T-Vox, but I was like, what does 30% mean if you were at 6% and you grew to 10%?
And let's put it another way. What does growth mean when your growth is already stunted?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you're behind on growth.
Mm-hmm. And I saw David said that is what teaching for a test does. Education should challenge the child's mind to work, just like a muscle, make it grow, and increasing resistance is needed. And I see Janie on here, and Janie, I want to talk about that issue a little bit further down. But on this comment, it's some people who believe that with a bar, right? Some people believe you should put the bar high and give the child the opportunity to jump, to train, to practice, as he's talking about. And some people say, I just care about kids too much to see them struggle in my class, so we're going to lower the bar so they can walk out with a smile. And when I see what he said, I think that's the criminal part of letting them walk away with a smile and not really being able to achieve what they need to achieve at that grade level, because it bites them on the back end. When they get out, when they finish elementary, transition to middle school or high school, and they realize they don't have the muscle, because especially math is foundational. You got to know your addition and subtraction, then your multiplication, and then your division, and then your algebra, and then your calculus, or your trigonometry, or your geometry, but it's all connected.
If you teach the skill,
mm-hmm.
you can take any test. Listen to what I'm telling you. That teach to a test thing, that's wordplay. Teach them how to read.
Mm-hmm.
Teach them the numeracy skills. Teach them the literacy skills. Teach them, and the literacy skills need to be based on the science. And teach them numeracy.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care what test you put in front of them. And give them things that are outside of their worldview. For comprehension, you've got to be exposed. If you're reading a book and let's say you live in the hood and you're reading a book about Paris, and there's no Paris in your hood, right? You're not going to understand what's going on in Paris, right? Mm-hmm. So you got to expose them to things outside of their worldview. Otherwise, it'll only be what they see. The little girl on Disrupt, Dismantle. Soledad, I'll never forget this. Soledad O'Brien asked her, what would you like to do in the future? She said, travel. And she traveled where? She said, just go somewhere outside of Nashville. I could tell she had not been exposed to other states and other countries and those types of things, because she could not articulate it, right? She could not dream it, and she couldn't, because she hasn't lived it. And so we got to make sure that we're doing those things. And then if you put a test in front of them, they'll be nobody, when we're in the class, when the kids are in the classroom, nobody knows what's going to be on the test.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that stuff got to make sense to me.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And Miss Moppin says, and Miss Moppin, look forward to seeing you tonight. Says the bar should be treated like long-term and short-term goals. They work side by side. What's the short game? What's the long game? What's the sprint to get somewhere? But what's the marathon when you think about K through 12 education? And then David says a butterfly must struggle to break out of the cocoon for wings to be big and strong, and the struggle is real and neat. I see y'all just with this visual language, Mr. Van Cleef.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. All this sounds like a personalized learning plan to me.
Come on now. It is, yeah. See, we got Cliff checking in. Said he got to work.
He's so crazy. He makes me laugh. Cliff, go ahead also. Happy belated birthday.
Yep.
I love Cliff. Good to see you, man.
But these are good conversations. And so let's get right into one of the things that we wanted to discuss, Sonia. We wanted to discuss, this town hall meeting, and hopefully some of our producers will put the link on there on the chat so we can share it. But I had coffee with a guy this morning who is very familiar with education, helps fund it, has worked in education, and he enlightened me. He was like, look, in 2008, Sonia, he said the budget was $550,000, $500 million, right? For 75,000 kids.
Wait a minute. You said 550,000, wait a minute. So it had 550 million.
Yeah, 550 million, not $500 million, $500 million. See, that's team.
That's okay. But yeah, I ain't good with numbers, but I was like, that shit ain't adding up, John.
But he stopped me and he made my caffeine really kick in because it said we got an issue. He said they were coming back for more money, right? Back then in 2008. He was like, we gave it to him. Like every year we increased it, right? He said they had 75,000 students in and now they're 80,000 and the budget, he said, is 1.1 billion. So the money has doubled and the achievement has diminished. And I was just like, I love history, but just for 2008, that was good to know. And then you start to ask yourself, so how much is enough? What's enough? What's the magic number that's gonna make it where our kids can go forward and not backwards?
Can I tell you something? Yesterday, I spent a little time actually researching that information.
Okay.
And so what I wanted to look at, I was like, okay, what do districts look like that kind of have the same amount of children that we have? Like, what does their budget look like across the country? And then I wanted to look at like, okay, so what are their outcomes right now? And I saw some school districts that had, $1 billion budgets like ours. And the money hasn't made it better. And I mean, I guess I'm just echoing what you're saying. That I didn't see better outcomes. I read a lot of articles about teacher retention. I read some research. I even read a lot of research about student outcomes, pay, because let's just be real, okay? These formulas, this budget stuff, what it has done, it's been a top down type of thing where it has paid people and has really like formed the middle class. Public education has formed the middle class and supported those incomes. And so when I looked at it, it talked about teacher pay. And one of the other things I wanted to look at is I hear a lot of people in the community, Lynn Franklin, I mentioned her because she comes to mind, talk about comparing public education with private schools. And so I said, well, let's look at private school funding. Let me look at what their teachers make. On the average here in Nashville and Tennessee, those teachers at private school make $30,000 to $40,000. And Nashville has the highest paid teachers, starting at $63,000, I believe, a year. And so you have people who say private schools, they get money and this and this and this and their kids. And the reason why their kids are doing better is because of the amount of money that's invested in the kid, in the school.
Mm-hmm.
That money ain't being invested in those teachers. It is being invested in the students. And that's what I noticed. Mm-hmm. That was the comparison that I saw. That the money, the fund, like those teachers don't make a lot of money. And I think teachers should be paid, right? And they should have a comparable pay. But I said that to say, we've got to make sure that we're advocating for outcomes for students and not formulas.
Yeah. So one thing I realized, and we talk about this a lot, like, so whenever we start talking about education, the first thing comes to mind for people are like the teachers, right? I want to try to change this a little bit. Like as we go into this conversation, let's realize that like a restaurant, right? The waiter, the waitresses, the host, they don't control the restaurant. They just operate in the restaurant environment, right? Mm-hmm. What we're talking about when we talk about resources, when we talk about efficiency and really teaching our kids, this is more of the top. And so when we think about administration, right? You think about principals, you think about executive directors, you think about board members, you think about superintendents, and like people who don't make the decisions are not accountable for the outcomes. It's the people who make the decisions. So my questions start to be, what are we doing with the resources we have, and what is the ultimate plan? And so I don't know if you saw the board meeting last night about what program was that? The Navigator program.
Oh, no, I had a headache. Actually, I had a family emergency, but tell me about it.
And they came and I was ready. I had my questions about the Navigator program. I was like, but let's talk about it. And so I was preempted by saying that they have changed the Navigator program, right? It's not about, since kids are at home, the Navigator program really caters more directly to the students, right?
I don't know. Do it?
That's what they said. Not even the phone calls. And so it's like pullouts, like 5-minute pullouts, which still wasn't making sense. And then they said, I asked, how can we connect parents? Because really, though, if you're talking to students about social and emotional issues, but you're not connecting with the parents. And I did a test. I texted my son. I said, send me an emoji on how you feel, John, because that's what we're doing. And he sent me the happy face. If you ever talk to a kid, how was school? Fine, good. They're not going to really dig deep. And so as I was asking, like, these were a group of people who met and said, we're going to have this Navigator program and it's going to be great. And they probably spent 3 to 4 months of manpower of organizing it. But at the end of the day, like, what good is it doing if it's no communication with parents, and parents don't know anything good or bad that happens? And that's what we talk about efficiency, right? Because teachers are taking time out of their day to be the navigator and to communicate with the students, but nobody knows what's really going on.
I want to see the receipts.
We asked for them. Yep.
I want to see the receipts. I want to see. Don't pull my child out of class and ask them how they're doing. You can walk past them and ask them that. I want to know what the plan, and how does my child know what the priorities are and the plan and what are the goals? That's what navigating. What do I need to do next, right? When you think about navigating, your navigation system, your GPS on your car, right? There's some partnership in there. So you got to put in some stuff in there, and the navigator helps you to go to the direction. And so parents and children need to be a part of getting to the destination. And that's not happening. This is just another way. This is what happens in MNPS. And yes, I'm calling out MNPS. They come up with these great ideas.
Right.
It's a great idea. They put it on a PowerPoint.
Yep.
They tie money to it.
Yep.
The superintendents, not the director of schools, the superintendents have a meeting with the principals. So if I told you something, John, right? By the time we get to somebody else, it's different. The vision has to come from leadership, and they have to have vision carriers and people who are open, people are willing to carry that vision and implement the vision. Poor implementation wastes money, does not create progress, and it's just wasteful. And that's what I've seen with this navigator program. And we did a poll about that. We can bring it up, later on. We did a poll asking parents about this. And if you ask a child, they don't know what y'all talking about with a navigator. I think Dr. Kessler said that she has a warrior time.
Right.
I want to know what happens in warrior time. This should be a whole program. Why? Because there's a budget tied to that, right, John?
It is.
Okay.
Yes, we brought in the program sown to seed or seed to sown. But Marnisha, thank you for jumping on, Ms. Gardner. She said it's not going to. The money is feeding greed, not education. Sad, very sad. The focus should be on the education, not the money. And I'm gonna just go back to a reference. So there was a poll. I think we talked a little bit about it last week. But again, like as we think about our school system, and maybe it's just us, the parents are propelled, but maybe it's a lot of parents. And when we looked at this poll, it said that 64% of respondents do not believe the city prioritizes children and youth. That sentiment spans all demographics. So as they talk about Black, white, Latino, Native American, Asian, it says the growing pessimism, not optimism, pessimism is prevalent through the citywide survey that includes school performance, things like COVID, but also serving disadvantaged communities.
Yeah. And I said it earlier. I said it on my Twitter. If you teach children how to read and then give them supports around their struggles, set high expectations, hold people accountable, I promise you'll see a difference. But if you don't have all of those things working together, and I don't see that, I don't care how much money you throw at it. I mean, we look at government right now, right, as a whole. I don't care how much money you throw at the problem. If you don't have a plan, if you don't have goals to get there, a destination,
right,
then you're never gonna get there. And that's not enough for parents like us. Like, that's not enough to be nice to us. That's not enough for people to throw money at it, at the problem. And money is needed. Like, I'm not discrediting money, but I haven't seen it work yet. So I cannot sit here and support something that I haven't seen work for children.
Yeah, and again, our budget is double, and education has gotten worse. And as we think about another trend that we're starting to see, a lot of these IEP meetings, as Ms. Moffin talks about, like, this is one issue. A lot of these are virtual and online, right? And so it's teachers getting into a place, it's parents like trying to find a good place that has internet or Wi-Fi, trying to connect to Teams or Zoom, whatever they use. And then it's still delays in the IEP meeting. And it just shows you, like, even if it's easier to connect because you're not meeting in person, they're still having delays in that department. And this is after a lot of those kids didn't get their services the previous year. And so again, when we think about education, it continues to go down because it's not an opportunity for kids to catch up, with high dosage tutoring. It's not an opportunity for this one-on-one time. It's just like business as usual, but in this case, it's worse.
Well, if we don't start seeing, and I'm tweeting at Metro schools, if parents are stating that they're having delayed IEP meetings, who do we talk to get this resolved? Or we're going to start bringing parents up to the schools by the droves.
And again, that meeting yesterday, it's always good to connect on these one-on-ones, because you really, the things that we talk about, like we're living with these parents day in and day out. And I'll send you the text. It's like the small thing. I was like, I just seen 8th grade. He was 77%. I'm like, is he in the 8th grade or is he in the 11th grade? Like, why are you giving him an 8th grade assessment when he's going to graduate next year? And if he's graduating next year, where is he really academically? Are we setting him up for the best time of his life? So we got work, and I see Sasha. Thank you for joining in. She says, good morning. Look forward to seeing you tonight. We're going to have such a good time. One of the things, and I'll ask our producer, Miss Groves, to put the link. But it's time. Like, we always talk about Propel having a seat at the table. And the only way and the only reason we're starting to get a seat at the table, because it's not just about Sonya or Tierra or Torvis or Thomas or myself. Like, this is real power when parents like Marnisha shows up. She can stand on her own 2 feet and talk about the issues. And people start to realize it's not just 1 or 2 people talking about these things. And so when I saw that we were co-hosting, I think that was an opportunity to expand the parent voice and teach parents, not only do we want a seat at the table, because that's not good enough. You can't put me at the Thanksgiving dinner table and not give me food. And so at these tables, like, these are opportunities to really address the things that we want to see when we think about funding. And then the other thing you see with your kid.
Yeah. I love that. I love that analogy you just gave. You can't put me at the Thanksgiving table.
I'm hungry.
Wait a minute, but if I bring something, y'all gonna eat it.
Come on now.
If I bring something, y'all gonna eat it. Y'all not just finna just look at my food. Because that's how they treat us. You bring something, and what they want to do is just sit there and look at you with no like expectation, even taking your feedback seriously. No, if we bring something, you're gonna eat it. Go, John, with the analogy. I tell you, Thanksgiving.
Those are that one superpower. Like, I just like the vision. But I think you said it earlier about the young child who, when asked, where do you want to go? He couldn't really think of anything. I just want to be out of Nashville. And so I think the great thing about being able to travel, it's the gift and the curse for me is, before I traveled, I thought all the issues that we dealt with were Nashville issues. Traveling, visiting family in Memphis or Los Angeles, or going to New York, or working in Miami. Like, I was like, golly, or even going to New Mexico. Like, I went to New Mexico, Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I expected just to see a difference, right? Better education systems, people with pride and power. These are communities that have been around before America started. And they were dealing with the same issues. The Native Americans, the Mexican Americans were dealing with the same issues we were dealing with in Nashville. Just different city, different temperature check in December.
Yeah. It's not getting better. It's getting worse. And there's not enough staff in the school. We as parents still don't really know what's going on. And I think that education in our school system is about to die. I think that if there is not a change quickly, I think you're going to see parents take their kids out in droves. I'm already hearing parents say it. Like, I'm interested to hear these enrollment numbers because they got to be a lie. It's too many. I'm like, you can't say 86,000 no more, because I done heard a whole bunch of parents. Yeah, I heard a whole bunch of parents taking their kids up out of them schools, homeschooling. I was talking to a parent last night. I just called, about, and she began to, I was calling about something else. And she began to tell me she took her kid out and was asking me about resources for homeschooling. So I connected her with some folk, but folk ain't playing about their kids no more.
Yep. I mean, Marnisha says like her kid is at home, started in a traditional school, went to their home school. And I'm going to give a shout out to Anna. So another thing is we get ready for, Black History Month, in a couple of months. I think of the Civil Rights Movement. And I think about all the warriors, like Martin Luther King, John Lewis, Diane Ash, a lot of the people we can't name. But I also think about the picture I remember seeing of the white German guy who got his teeth knocked out when John Lewis got his head bashed in. And I think about Anna. Anna has been on here talking about dyslexia. And those are things that come across my email. It was a teacher. I'm drawing a blank on the name. Katie, if you're listening, Anna is on here. You need to jump in and direct message her. But I think the partnership that we're getting close to, like what's going on with Anna as a white woman is going on with Sonia as a Black woman and John as a Black father. Like we are dealing with the same issues, but the divide and conquer is making it hard. And so, yeah, a lot of sacrifices were made. It's time to bring those sacrifices back. And not saying we haven't been doing it, but the collective sacrifice, like not just collective sacrifice when they were at the lunch counter, right? And everybody linked up. You getting spit on, I'm getting spit on. And I want to punch the crap out of somebody, but we got a bigger plan. Yep. The collective action sign is what I'm thinking about as I think about Black History Month.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's what our movement is all about, right? Yep. Our movement is about collective action. It's about developing the power of parents. Like, we went on 92Q this morning and talked about our movement, what we do, and why we're needed. And some of that was around like literacy, right? Like those, yeah. I believe that audience probably didn't know that there are schools that are feeder schools to each other that are low performing. Kenny asked me, well, what's a low performing school? Like name a school. And I told him, I said, well, when you think about feeder schools, think of like Maplewood cluster. When you got Jerry Baxter kids going to Maplewood and low performing, or Haynes who go to Whites Creek. And they come from the elementary school that are low performing. And so like, that's why we've got to take collective action. Many of you are already advocating for your child. Like you're out there, you're fighting. But you go to these meetings, go to IEP meeting. How many of them is it?
Yep.
6,
7, 8. 7, 8.
7, 8. Some of them don't have their camera on. They might be in the grocery store. I done heard some teachers say, I don't have my stuff in front of me. How the hell you show up for IEP meeting? You ain't got nothing in front of you. They was at the store or in the car. Malpractice. Just in the car. Hell, I done made them turn their camera on. Turn your camera on so I can see you.
Right.
And they in the car. So, folk not taking our children seriously. And folk don't have to do what they said they're going to do.
All right.
They don't have to do what they say they're going to do until we make them together.
Yeah, because I'm going to tell you, I done cussed when I was a kid. NES National Electric Service had my bill sky high, and I was like, ain't no way that was my. I cussed them out. I hung up on them. You know what they did? They cut my electric service off because the money stopped flowing. And and you know what I had to do? I had to call back and pay my bill and a reconnect fee. And so when we think about public education, we think about our kids. I mean, Candace, and I don't know if she's on here, but Candace comes on here not to complain, but she gives us an update on what's going on at her kids' school. And it's always the worst. They always, whether it's losing her kid, whether it's not effectively doing the IEP meeting, not educating them, but at the end of their fiscal year, they get that check. And there's no accountability to the check. But the way we operate in the U.S., right, is by doing a good job and getting paid for it or getting accommodated. Because without it, like, why do anything different? And I think that's where we are right now. Like, why would I do anything different, Sonia, if I'm still gonna get the same thing, but more?
Because you don't have to.
Right.
You don't have to. What I say last week, the education system, the biggest damn heist I ever seen in my life. It has created so much revenue that it has supported a whole middle class.
Yeah.
It has created and supported middle class. And that's what it's been about. It's really, when you think about teachers unions, I'm gonna talk about y'all. Teachers unions, their job is to negotiate pay and benefits. They're gonna be at that meeting tonight. Parents, we need y'all there because they gonna be there, and they're gonna advocate for teacher pay and benefits, and we gotta be there to advocate for outcomes. When we get our outcomes, you get your pay and you get your benefits. I can't go to Publix and Whole Foods and HG Hills and just take stuff out the store without giving them their money, right? Like there's an exchange of something, and right now we ain't getting nothing. And that money, let me tell y'all something. Whoever listening, it don't belong to you. It belong to us.
Come on now.
It ain't even your money. Running a whole pyramid scam. That's what it is. Everybody at the top getting money. We giving the very best we got and ain't getting nothing in return. Pyramid scam.
That's what that is. Say it again.
Pyramid scam. Blank checks being written, and we getting insufficient funds.
Come on
when
now.
it get to us. Come on, Martin.
Come on now, because I done been on. I done got there. Not today.
Come on, Martin. Come on, Martin Luther the King.
Yeah.
Yes.
Held that breath at the ATM. Like, come on now.
Come on now. You ain't getting nothing. I done had that a few times.
Hold my breath. Okay, as long as I hold my breath, that money, not today.
I was messing with Scott Meltzer from the Tennessee Department of Education. He called me from a bat phone this morning. I looked at it. And I called him back. Said, "Hey, it's Scott." I said, "I thought you was a bill collector." I was messing with him. He busted out laughing.
We know who to answer.
For real though, like this money, the school system, y'all, should belong to the students and the parents. Everybody else is providing the customer service. Period.
That's how it's in. And as Rhea says, come on now. And this is what we got to do. Like when I see Kendall Moffitt on here, I remember my first call with Kendall. I laughed, but I knew her passion. She said, come on now, quit playing with me. Because she was fed up. She was tired. And she was happy to know that there were other people who the system was playing with and she wanted to be in partnership with. The lady yesterday was talking to her. She said, I'm going to tell you, like, this is not just about my kid. It was a green flag. She was like, I want to make sure this don't happen to other kids. I was like, oh.
Come on now. I never want to feel the way. I never want nobody else to feel the way I feel.
I said we're going to the school. And as Kendall says, you know, a lot of people are being told the IEP meetings are online only. But as she said, knowledge is power. You can request an in-person IEP. And I think...
Hey, Kendall, if you're listening, I just sent them a message. So they already been warned. We going up there, but we not coming small. So I told them, asked me if I'm playing. Kendall's been going through this for weeks, and other people been going through this. It's time out. So we finna start showing up at the schools. So Metro schools, Metro Police Department, Metro Fire Department, FBI, TBI, whoever need to be there to get it solved, we finna start running up on the school.
Yeah. And it would have been this Friday for Freedom Friday, but we're going to look at some more dates. And shout out to Shamika. You know, we had a call. We did some strategy. We wanted to really understand parents, really understand schools. And you know, she reaching out to some of the schools and she giving a progress report where she is a native of Nashville. Kids have been in the school system. She want to help. And it's no callback.
Wait a minute. So Ida B. West. So I'm just going to start warning everybody today because they getting geeked and turning up. I want to ruin that whole thing for them. So Ida B. West, do I need to tell? Do we need to show up to Ida B. Wells?
You know what's up?
Is it a problem at Ida B. Wells?
Yep. I think it's a school that was on the priority list. They changed the name, got them off the priority list. Still continuing to like not serve kids well. And I think some people have just had enough.
Yeah, I done got tired. I've been reading the emails. The parents have been sick. They've been CCing us on the emails, and I've been reading them. And you know, it's just gonna be another disrupt, dismantle. Metro schools, do y'all want to be made famous again? I mean, it's a damn shame. And Soledad said that. She said it's a shame that we got to show up and protest to get things done in school. And no, I'm not calling y'all, Hank. I'm not calling you one by one for schools. I got work to do. That's y'all's job to make sure these parents have what they need inside those school beds. I'm not calling. So surprise, surprise. Yeah, we're gonna clear our schedule and we're gonna go on a school tour. Yeah, hell, might even rent a bus, horse and carriage, whatever we got to do. We're gonna start coming up to these schools, and folk gonna start addressing these situations with these children. Or y'all keep playing. Y'all need to go to court. IEP stuff, like y'all know better than to play with that. I'm sorry, I can't. And I'm not here to bash, but what wrong is wrong, right? Like
we ain't talking about bashing. We're talking about student. Look, if it's the truth and it hurts, deal with it. If it's the truth and it hurts. Now, if we tell a lie, but this is hurting our kids. Like, you got to look at these kids who are struggling day in and day out. And you talking about give us time. Man, we've been giving you too much time. Time is out.
Wait a minute. COVID.
Come on now. The last time that the online people didn't do the test right. It was a glitch.
What's the excuse going to be in 2022? Somebody already, Sean, you writing that? That's the PR man. You writing the excuse for next year? Ain't no more excuses.
So Kendall looking like she becoming that powerful parent we knew, but she was like, you know, she wished parents Tennessee-wide could put their kids on strike for school. Like, shut the system down. Like,
what's his name? And
Kendall, we'll do a little dialogue. I'm gonna engage you a little bit, but like, why would we do a strike and not send our kids to school? Like, why would we even do that? Like, is that the right thing to do?
Is it?
Those are questions we're gonna get.
Wait a minute, but as a mama, now I'm finna talk to the
Okay,
mamas.
Come on now.
Is it right for me to keep sending my child into a school building that is not educating them, not doing their IEPs?
Come on now.
Not making sure they have what they need? Should I keep doing that?
Come on now.
Mm.
And it's an easy answer. I mean, we're not going to even play around. Like, the easy answer is no. I just think for far too long, it's very hard and it's less likely for a kid to rob, steal, or kill when they have gotten a great education.
And Anna, I'll talk to you. She's got on there. She can help file the system. I'm organizing some stuff. Anna, I'll talk to you about that later. People have already been doing that. No harm, but people have already been filing those systemic complaints, and nothing happens. So I'll talk to you about that later. All these things have been done. These are not new things, and the system just doesn't work for us. None of us.
Mm-hmm. And Kendall says, mess with money like they're messing with our kids' lack of education. Yvonne is back here into schools that are metaphorically burning down. Marnisha says, yes, ma'am, hurt them all. And then Kendall comes back, my daughter in 8th grade, learning addition.
That's sad. Because of no instructor. Megan, are you looking at this?
Wow.
Erica Glover, are you looking at this? Cameron, are you looking at this?
Wow.
Rahima, Ellis, NBC, are you looking at this? Soledad, are you looking at this? Joe Biden, are you looking at this? Secretary Cardona, are you looking at this? Penny Swain, are you looking at this? Governor Lee, are you looking at this? Matt Cooper, are you looking at this? Adrian Battle, do you hear us? 9 school board members, are y'all looking at this?
You got one. Seeing it, hearing it, feeling it.
Jenny, are you looking at this? Frida, are you looking at this? Sharon, are you looking at this? Fran, are you looking at this? Emily, are you looking at this? Abigail, are you looking at this? Christian, you already done seen it. Are you looking at this? 92Q, are you looking at this?
Man, yeah, that's a lot. That's just that right there said my daughter's in the 8th grade learning addition. What are we talking about?
What are we really doing in these buildings, John?
Playing
what are we
school.
Really doing? We are playing school.
My sister used to line up the books, tell us to sit down, give us the book, and she would act like she was teaching.
With a belt. That's how we did it.
Yep.
With a belt.
Wow. I just hit my doggone knee. Like, whoo, that was a rough one. Learning addition. And so again, like, you just start to ask yourself, so what happens for 9th grade, right? Is that when they learn subtraction? What happens 10th grade? Is that when they're learning multiplication? What happens 11th grade? Division? What happens 12th grade? Long division? What happens ESY? Like,
spelling word list. Spelling word lists do not teach children how to read. Never have, never will.
It's memorization.
It's memorization. That does not teach children how to read. That's why your children are struggling to read. Sasha said that it hurts her heart with your sister. Yeah. That's why we got to build a movement. I'm going to show y'all something. We're going to show you something. That's why we got to build a movement.
Yeah.
This is not about an individual. It's not about, sometimes it's not even about filing complaints or even lawsuits.
Yeah.
If I'm drowning in a bottle of water
Mm-hmm.
and I'm looking at them and saying, I need your help, and they tell me they can't do it, Dr. Battle, we can't operationalize personalized learning. Why keep asking them to do something that they say they can't do, or we know they're incapable of doing? They've never been able to tell us what they can do. What have they said that indicates that they're going to educate our children? Broken promises is all we've all had, and we're tired.
Yeah.
We're tired. And why should we?
Yeah.
Why should we trust them? Why should we have faith in it, John?
Yeah. Got to take it over. I mean, got to take it over. I mean, just history from the Christian Crusades. Like, sometimes when you want to get it done, you do it with diplomacy. You meet at the table. You go back and forth. You have compromise. But sometimes you just got to take it over. Like Pleasant said, Michael Jackson said it. All I want to say is that they don't really care about us. And they probably keep saying, shit, as long as they're going to take it, we're going to give it to them. Like,
and that's why it's important for us to speak up. It's a danger in a single story.
Yep.
It is dangerous for the school system to get up in front of everybody in a board meeting and celebrate a 13% literacy score. Can you put my co-host on, please? Put my co-host on. It is dangerous. It is dangerous. There's a danger in a single story. Metro Schools Board had a piece on their agenda where they celebrated Rosebank coming off of the priority school list with a 13% literacy score. That means 87% of the children in the school can't read, and y'all having a whole party. Hello, co-host, and good morning. See, this is why we got to fight. Hold him up, John. What he got on? He ain't got no blue jeans, do we?
Nah.
Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. Hey, Gigi, baby. We doing this for this future and for the kids of today, y'all. We got a lot of stuff to do. Carson is our official. Hi, Carson. Hey, Car. Hey, Gigi, baby. Get you all cleaned up. Get your makeup done for the camera. Hey, Carson. Hey, Car. Hey, Gigi, baby. Hey, Gigi, boy. You co-hosting?
He was all the way on the other side looking like, oh, this is my time. This is my time. He jumping out the chair, getting fed. He like, all right, I'm going to eat later. But yeah, this is just it. Like, this is hard, to look at, my nieces and nephews range from kindergarten all the way to college and in between. And when I think about all their journeys that I watch, it always started so promising. And as they got ready to graduate high school and think about college, some started college, but they didn't go far. Some finished college, but it's been rough. And we got to do it differently, and we got to do it better. Like, if we are not growing and strengthening like our communities that come after us, like, we turn into a dying breed. And
Yes. And so what we got coming up, John, for the sake of time, what we got coming up tomorrow? Today we've got the meeting with the Tennessee Department of Education. We are co-hosting the BEP meeting, and it's talking about funding, but it's a time for you to come and listen, but also to ask questions and to speak out. And so that is today at 5:30, and I want to get that address. We should have it on here, John, in the comments. I saw Rhea put it in here for us, and I'm gonna look it up real quick.
And as you're looking up the address, I know it's Merrill Hyde Magnet School.
There it is.
There it is right there. It's 128 Township Drive, Hendersonville, Tennessee, 37075. And it's a conversation about student-based funding for public education and how to create a new strategy to best serve our parents.
And y'all, this conversation is going to be a Tennessee conversation. So it just won't be about, metro schools,
Right.
but it's about every school district in the state of Tennessee. And so I hope that you guys come and join us in that conversation. Look forward to seeing all the parents that have RSVP. Come give me a fist bump, man. I want to see some real people. Or y'all turn up this weekend, get exposed to all that COVID-19. See me before that. I'll stop playing like that. But yeah, some people are gonna be turning up. Then Sunday, it's all about the cheering. Y'all bring them kids out to the McFerrin Center at 3:00. We're gonna do a trunk or treat. Me and John dressing up, y'all.
Yep.
We dressing up. I'm gonna be one of those Tyler Perry characters. I ain't gonna tell y'all which one it's gonna be. Guess which one it's gonna be. That's gonna be at 3 to 5. And come out and we want to create a safe place, and we want to see parents and connect with you guys and meet people in the community. And then November 9th, John.
Yep.
November 9th.
We'll be at the National Public Library downtown on Church Street having a conversation, not only with Propel, but we have some amazing parents coming from Memphis with the Memphis Lift who are going to sit on a panel with some of our parents and really just, again, make sure we realize it's not just something that's happening in Nashville. It's happening in Memphis. It's happening in Miami. It's happening in Atlanta. And we're going to talk about who we are, what we do, and what do we do to fix it.
Yeah, and that's going to be hosted by one of our coalition partners, Better Schools Outcome Now. And we're excited about that. And that is going to be on November the 9th at 10 a.m. at the Nashville Public Library. So just giving you guys a head up to mark your calendars. It's only for a couple of hours. So if you are off work, if you work in the evening, if you want to take off work and call out, y'all call out for the parade. I need y'all to call out for this. November the 9th. So we'll see y'all then. Carson. There goes Gigi, baby. And you turned around.
All right, guys. Thank you guys for engaging with us. This was a really rich conversation. It was tough, but tonight, 5:30, Merrill Hyde Magnet in Hendersonville, Tennessee, 128 Township. Don't meet us there, beat us there. And we'll talk to you guys soon.
Bye-bye. See you.